Donlin joins us on the phone with the very latest. Joe, you've seen everything. Cars smashed in, fires in the middle of the streets, and buildings looted. Where are you, and what do you see now?
I'm back home right now in the Streeterville area, and it has been a wild night. The things had broken up to the point where I felt like it was probably good to get out of there at that point, too. But it was definitely wild. I picked up a group at the Wrigley building at about 7:30, and police had sort of blocked them at the river and forced them to head toward the lake, which is where they crossed the Columbia Bridge and then up onto Upper Wacker. And that's when they headed toward the Loop, where most of the action was tonight, mainly around State and Lake. And that's where some of these car fires were that you mentioned. And police brought in a number of officers and basically forced the protesters then toward Washington, where this group proceeded to smash vehicles that were parked on the street. There were at least 4 that I saw between State and Dearborn, where people with 2x4s were just pounding on the windshields and on the windows around the cars, and then also just kicking in doors and breaking off the rear view mirrors. Protesters would move from intersection to intersection, and in some cases they would drag things out into the street and then set fires. And as you mentioned, there were a number of storefronts that suffered broken windows. As I was walking back through this area, I noticed several of them as I retraced my steps, where the entire gigantic storefronts, the windows had all been smashed out. And then late tonight, the mayor and new police superintendent, David Brown, held a news conference understanding the frustration, but not the damage.
You don't come to a peaceful protest with a bowling ball or a hammer or a shovel or a baseball bat. You don't come to a peaceful protest with bottles of urine to throw at police officers. I applaud the vast majority of the individuals who came here to make true and lasting change peacefully. But to the rest of you, I'm here to call you out.
They are meting out violence in the memory of a man who was unjustly killed, murdered by police officers. You are not representing the Floyd family in the right way by doing what you're doing in our American cities across this country. And our police officers are determined. We're determined. We are not shaken. We are not taken aback to protect our city.
So that's some of what we heard tonight from the mayor and new police superintendent. And I should point out as well, there was one point as we approached 9 o'clock where I crossed a couple of police officers and asked them about the plan and what the plan was for this curfew at 9, and they hadn't even heard about it. In fact, as I was talking with these 2 CPD officers, both of their phones chirped, and mine did as well, with the alert that this curfew had been set in place. But no one really knew, and I can guarantee you, because I never heard it out there, and if I hadn't been in touch with the station, I wouldn't have known either, so these protesters probably didn't know about it either. There was no warning, really, or no PA system letting people know that this curfew was in place, and if there was, I never heard it, and I was really in the heart of this thing. And as I said, at times there were protesters throwing items, anything and everything they could, over the top of the crowd at the officers. And I did see a number of ambulances, but I don't know for sure that anyone was hurt. But a crazy night, and as it approached 9:30, things definitely started breaking up. But everything from a man on horseback in the middle of the intersection at Dearborn and Washington to 15 or 20 motorcycles riding through doing wheelies. It was just a wild night in downtown Chicago tonight.
Wild and sometimes dangerous there. We want to take you live to looting at a CVS. Skycam 9 is over it. That's not a protest. Again, we keep saying it. That is looting. These people broke the glass, and they were able to get inside of this CVS. Joe raised an interesting point, Jackie, about the alerts going out, that people didn't exactly have a lot of lead time. Those bridges were raised. The CTA was shut down. That, of course, raises questions about how people are supposed to get home. As you see that crowd running away there,
Once again, yes, another drugstore looted, just like the Walgreens, but here come the police and off they go. You know, we thought this was settling down, but there still seems to be pockets of looting, pockets of violence. Last time we were in the River North area. This CVS is where, producers? LaSalle. It is on LaSalle, but again,